Today I'm walking you through 14 habits that let you build serious wealth without a single person noticing. Welcome to Money and Market. Quick disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Now let's get into it. Habit 1. Automate your savings before you ever see the money. Behavioral economists call this decision fatigue. By the time payday hits, you've already made hundreds of small choices that day, and saving competes with all of them. It usually loses because spending feels good right now, and saving only feels good eventually. The fix is to remove the choice entirely. Set up an automatic transfer the day your paycheck lands, before rent, before groceries, before you even check the balance. You're paying your future self first with zero willpower required. Someone who automates just $300 a month starting at 25, invested at an average 8% return, ends up with roughly $1 million by 65, without ever increasing the contribution. It's not impressive on any single day. It only becomes impressive after 40 years of not thinking about it.
Habit 2. Keep your income and net worth a closed book. Don't mention your salary. Don't talk about bonuses. Don't complain about taxes in a way that reveals your bracket. Don't post the brokerage screenshot. Every disclosure becomes a data point other people use to calculate what you should be able to afford for them. A relative who knows your income now has a number to compare against when they ask for help. A coworker who knows your bonus quietly resents you or expects you to cover lunch from now on. When someone asks directly, "We're doing fine," or "can't complain," ends the conversation without inviting follow-up questions. You don't owe anyone your numbers, and the people who actually matter in your life don't need them to respect you.
Habit 3. Drive the car nobody notices. Compare two people earning the same $75,000 a year. Person A finances a $45,000 SUV, $650 a month for 6 years, plus higher insurance, plus a vehicle that loses 20% of its value the moment it leaves the lot. Person B buys a 6-year-old Camry in cash for $14,000 and drives it for a decade, spending roughly $200 a month total on insurance and upkeep. That $450 monthly gap invested at 8% for 10 years comes out to over $80,000. Person A ends up with a car worth $9,000. Person B ends up with $80,000 invested and a car that still runs fine. Nobody applauds either decision. That's exactly why it works.
Habit 4. Opt out of the comparison economy entirely. Every vacation post, every "we just closed on the house" announcement, every photo with the new watch is data. Data other people use to benchmark their lives, and data you use to benchmark yours. People who build quiet wealth tend to simply stop participating, not out of secrecy for its own sake, but because the comparison treadmill is expensive in two ways. It pressures you to spend just to keep up appearances, and it manufactures anxiety that has nothing to do with your actual financial position. When you stop performing your finances for an audience, you stop feeling obligated to fund the performance, and your spending starts answering to your own goals instead of everyone else's highlight reel.
Habit 5. Keep housing costs below 30% of your take-home pay. Housing is the largest budget category for almost everyone, which makes it the largest lever. Lenders will often approve a mortgage that eats 40 to 45% of your income. That doesn't mean you should take it. Every extra $200 a month in housing is $2,400 a year. Over 20 years at 8% average returns, that's roughly $115,000 in lost investment growth for a slightly bigger kitchen. This isn't about living somewhere miserable. It's about buying or renting comfortably below your max approval and redirecting the gap into investments. 20 years later, the modest house comes with options. The stretched house comes with a mortgage and not much else. Habit 6. Freeze your lifestyle for 12 months after every raise. This is the one even good savers get wrong. You get a raise and almost immediately spending creeps up to match it. A nicer apartment, a few more takeout dinners, a subscription here and there. Each choice feels small and justified. Together, they erase the raise completely. The fix is a hard rule. For 12 months after any raise, spending stays exactly where it was, and the entire increase goes to investments or debt payoff. After the year, you can upgrade deliberately if you want to, but at least it's a decision, not a drift. Do this after every raise across a 10-year career, and you'll have captured years of income that would have otherwise quietly evaporated. Habit 7. Make your investing boring. Day trading, picking individual stocks, chasing the next crypto run, these generate stories, but on average they underperform a simple, low-cost index fund held for decades. The majority of actively managed funds underperform their benchmark over 15-year periods, and individual investors trying to time the market typically do worse still, largely from fees, taxes on frequent trading, and emotional decisions made at exactly the wrong moments. The boring version, automatic contributions into a broad market index fund left alone for 20 or 30 years, has no story to tell at a dinner party. It also has one of the best long-term track records available to a regular person. Boring compounds. Exciting usually doesn't, and that's why this is the move worth the most over a lifetime.
Habit 8. When you give, give anonymously. Covering a stranger's order, slipping a gift card to a family that needs it, donating without attaching your name, each of these lets your values speak without your ego attached. Anonymous generosity removes the pressure that comes with recognition. It keeps the focus on the actual impact rather than on managing how people now see you. It also protects your privacy. Nobody adjusts your expectations of you. Nobody assumes you're now the household ATM. You quietly make things better for someone else without it becoming a permanent line item in how people treat you afterward. That's a form of wealth that never shows up on a balance sheet, but matters just as much.
Habit 9. Audit your subscriptions like they're a hostile expense. Streaming services, a gym membership you visit twice a year, a meal kit, a premium app tier you forgot existed. Individually, these feel like nothing. $12 here, $20 there. Add up the average household's recurring subscriptions, and you're often looking at $200 to $300 a month in things barely used. Redirected and invested for 20 years at 8%, that's well over $100,000. This isn't about depriving yourself of things you actually enjoy. It's a 20-minute audit, twice a year, canceling anything you genuinely haven't used in the last month. Nobody notices when you cancel something. They only notice when you can't pay for something later.
Habit 10. Build 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account and never mention that it exists. This is the most underrated wealth tool there is because it's not about growth, it's about preventing forced bad decisions. Without it, a job loss or a car repair turns into high-interest debt that takes years to climb out of. The quiet part is just as important as the fund itself. The moment people know you have a cushion, you become the default emergency contact for everyone else's emergencies. Keep it as your safety net, not the family's shared resource. You can still help people when it makes sense, but on your terms, not because someone found out you had the capacity.
Habit 11. For larger assets, consider holding them through a legal entity. Many investors put rental properties or side businesses inside an LLC, which separates your personal name from public ownership records. To anyone checking county records, the owner shows up as a company, not a person. That distance isn't about hiding anything illegal. It's about not becoming an obvious target for loan requests, lawsuits, or assumptions from contractors and tenants who'd otherwise know exactly who they're dealing with. Fewer people know what you own, fewer people have opinions about what you should do with it. This is a more advanced move and worth discussing with an accountant or attorney before setting one up, but it's a standard tool serious investors use specifically for privacy and asset protection. Habit 12. Build multiple income streams that don't require an audience. Dividends from index funds, rental income run through an LLC, freelance work under a separate business name, royalties from something you created. Each stream is small individually, but together they build resilience and speed up the whole process. The key is keeping them quiet. You don't need to announce a side income or post about passive earnings. You just collect and reinvest. Over years, these streams can grow large enough to replace a paycheck entirely, while from the outside you still look like someone with a completely ordinary job. That gap between appearance and reality is exactly where stealth wealth lives. Habit 13. Master selective transparency. You can be open about some financial topics while staying completely private about others. And this does something clever. It satisfies people's curiosity just enough that they stop digging deeper.
Talk openly about budgeting strategies, share general money tips, discuss investing philosophy in broad terms. Just never mention actual numbers, not your salary, not your net worth, not your account balances. You can even talk about financial struggles from years ago, which makes you relatable, while your current position stays invisible. Most people assume that anyone willing to talk about money at all can't have that much of it. The people who actually have it just control the narrative carefully, sharing exactly enough to seem open and nothing that actually reveals anything. Habit 14, the one that ties everything together. Space your major purchases years apart, not months. Buy reliable used car, then leave it alone for 7 to 10 years. Move to a better place, then stay put for 5. When upgrades all happen close together, new car, new apartment, new everything within the same year, people notice, and noticing invites questions and comparisons. When they're spaced out, each upgrade just reads as normal life progression, while the years in between are when your investments are actually doing the compounding work. This single habit controls how your wealth is perceived, even while it's quietly growing underneath the surface.
Put all 14 together and you get one simple equation. Automation removes the need for willpower, privacy removes outside pressure, and consistency does the compounding. None of these moves require a high income. They require discipline and a willingness to look completely unremarkable for a decade while your accounts quietly do something remarkable. That trade, looking ordinary now for real freedom later, is the actual definition of stealth wealth. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of what builds real wealth is boring enough that nobody would ever film it for a highlight reel. Automatic transfers, a 10-year-old car, an apartment you didn't upgrade, a boring index fund. None of it photographs well, and that's exactly why it works. The people performing wealth are usually funding the performance with debt, and the people quietly building it are the ones you'd never guess. If this was useful, subscribe for more breakdowns like this, and let me know in the comments which of these 14 habits you're already doing and which one you're starting this month.